Hello. It's a Too Much Dip podcast. I'm Dave. I'm going to host. It's Monday. We're having fun. Joining me in studio, Dylan Shivery.
I have a question for you two gentlemen. It's about bathroom protocol. You ready?
Yes.
Standard procedure is, of course, when you use the toilet, you put the seat down, right? In this office, it's done pretty much every time. Everyone puts the seat down after they use it, right?
Yeah.
Standard. I don't, and I'll tell you why. In an office with all dudes, and about, 80 to 90% of the trips in there are to go number one. Wouldn't it make more sense to just leave it up? It's less up and down with the seat. That way, when the next fellow walks in, it's already ready for him to go. Right? Put it down every time. It's a lot of lifting and putting back down, lifting, putting back down. It just seems more common sense to me
I don't run from the grind.
to leave it up all the time. And then if you need to go number two, you just put it down on your own. What do you think?
Will sits when he pees, so
Good
Okay.
point. Point, Randy.
That's one out of the four. I'm sorry, one out of the five in the office that does that. But still, the vast majority of the trips in there are stand-up pee sessions.
You don't know that.
I do.
I try to. I save my baggage for the office, if you know what I mean.
yeah. Look, if it's Rhea time, I need to just
Thank
go.
you.
You've got.
Randy's
to
got 2
stop.
points. You got 0.
You've got to stop just fitting in Rhea time anywhere you can.
It's a great point.
What
though.
I'm saying is extremely valid, and y'all are just too afraid to say so. KJ, thoughts?
I cannot retweet Rhea time. However, 2 questions.
Wait a minute.
Or 1 question. The people at home, and for my memory, is there a cover or is it just the seat? Like, is there a lid too
Yeah,
There's
of
a-
course.
on this toilet?
The
Well,
lid,
you know, and some public johns just go with the seat. You
the
know?
lid goes down too
Great point.
from the
Okay.
other people
So,
in here.
if there's a lid, I think I'm team. You close the lid for the splash factor.
That's
It is
it.
one of the only areas that I'm not interested in the splash factor. But also,
What
the
do you
good
mean?
people at
Hold
home
on.
are probably.
What do you mean? What do you mean for the splash
the
factor?
the pee volcano that occurs. I guess not volcano.
That's what they called your old apartment.
spout.
Well, when you pee, the seat's up. So what are you talking
No,
about?
no, no, no.
At the
when you
flush.
flush.
The flush.
The flush.
Oh, okay.
Which you should
Yeah,
always
yeah.
do
So-
the
so-
full cover after a Duke. You should always shut the
So
entire
if-
thing
if
during the flush.
If you're advocating like close for the flush and then leave it back open, okay, I can vibe with that. I wouldn't be opposed. If, however, I wasn't known as this show's prime supporter of women and women's rights and inclusivity in general,
He's an ally.
and I know that Sally comes to the studio at least on a semi-regular basis.
She spends 2 hours in the office a week, if that.
Will's wife.
That was epic reference.
Yeah,
Will's toothbrush partner, yes.
Ooh, that's a deep cut.
Yeah.
Damn, why you gotta do them like
It is a
that?
prime character trait for me. It is a starter kit #1 from the day I
Really?
heard that.
That was quite the
'Cause that is a
revelation.
1 of 1 trait.
Oh my God, dude. Forgot about that.
I wonder if we shame them enough that they stop doing that. Toothbrushes are fairly attainable at the store. You can just acquire another one fairly easily.
They're quite affordable.
I believe they have the means to do so. Not to get in their financials, but
I mean, look, yes, they got that 2 toothbrush money.
yes.
I forgot. That was definitely touching base era, right?
Probably.
Had to be.
I think it was mail-in this office, actually.
Oh, wow. Well, Randy would know.
I accidentally put them on the spot to answer the question, is what happened.
Oh,
I was
okay.
like, who does that? And they were like, we do. Like, oh shit, sorry.
Yeah. At the time, I believe there even was like a sponsor involved. which made it even more baffling that, like, again, it wasn't even about means. It was just, you just request too. But either way, this is all giving Dylan of a baseball coach who just takes the lid off because he doesn't want his players sitting and texting and just goes no seat at all on the commode. And that is a move I respect.
That is that should be illegal.
That's
HIPAA.
That's a Europe move. Public restrooms. When I visited Europe, 1 out of every 10 had an actual seat on it. They did not want you going number 2 there. It was so frustrating.
Okay, so I have something I want to talk about in this same ballpark. But before we move to it, I want to say to Dylan, I don't think your logic is flawed. It makes perfect sense. I don't, from an aesthetic standpoint, I don't like looking at the bare bowl because I feel like we have a few messy peers in this office. I'm not going to name names. Not a few. There is a messy peer in this office. And sometimes it is, it's not that they're like peeing on the floor or something, but I just don't like looking at pee stains on the thing. That's all.
Okay.
That's all. But if you were to do that, it doesn't bother me.
Okay.
My only rule is I think you should definitely, at home, if you do the fouler of the two deeds, you should always shut it completely, then flush, wait, and then lift it back up if you want, or just leave it all the way shut. I think that's a good hygiene move so you don't get the poo particles.
You don't drop your phone into the toilet.
There you go. My question as a dad with a kid who is officially, 3.5-ish, we're peeing in public, wearing underwear, potty trained. It happened last night at dinner. He's got to pee, so we go in. I always think about just bringing him to the small urinal and just holding them up and letting them go.
Dude,
you can't do that, right?
It's funny what like the little guys when they start to use a urinal. This is what Parks did, and I got on his ass every time about it. But when he was tall enough to use a urinal, he would just lean against the urinal and like hang his thing over. 'Cause, he's a little guy. He needs all the leverage he can get. I'm like, dude, never touch a urinal.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's with your pant leg. It doesn't matter. Don't touch a urinal, buddy.
Okay.
It's like, okay. And then he would just keep doing it. And he was younger, to be fair.
So
The
bring him in the
full-size
stall.
rainfall ones are like absolutely attractants for that.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
You know what I mean?
To the ground,
like
ground
4
floor.
foot tall ones.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But like, is it a trash move to if I bring him in the stall and I'm like, I don't want him sitting on that shit. But if he just like stands on the seat and like points it down
No.
that's a trash move on my part. I haven't done that.
No.
You don't think
Not
it's
at
a
all.
trash move.
Mm-mm.
That's
You
in
do
play.
you do what needs to be done in that scene.
Okay.
I on more than one occasion have like nearly not verbally accosted. That's rough, but definitely confronted individuals who, the move of like, you're in a grocery store and you get stuck in the same crisscross pattern with somebody else, the same opposing shopper, and you're like, all right, I got to break up this cycle. You also have this if you've headed to the restroom in a public place and you've just kind of synced up strides and you're like, crap, I don't feel like I'm following them, but we both got to go. Found myself in that second scenario with my son, who will be 4 Thursday, by the way. Shouts to him.
Oh, let me be the first to say happy birthday.
Happy birthday, 4.
Thank you. Shouts to Kai. But then found ourselves in that situation, and then there are 2 urinals, or at least more than one, and a grown man will take the short one. Usually because it's the first to the door. But like, I have no hesitation being like, hey, like pre-zip, even if it's post-zip, because then Kai will verbally say like, he shouldn't be using that one, or why is he using that one? And be like, you're right. He's just kind of an asshole. I won't say asshole, but like, I will fully confirm.
Oh, Randy
you're right.
looks confused.
hold on.
Like
So-
he could done this.
No, in this situation, both urinals were open and he chose the shorter one.
Correct. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's happened twice.
As a
where
grown man, I would never.
I don't expect anybody to wait, but like, you don't go to the little one if another's open.
Yeah.
I don't need to have him to like know that we're behind, but you just don't.
That's a good point. I've never thought of that. And I wonder if I violated that rule. Probably.
I've only gone little one if that's the only one that's available. Like
Correct.
otherwise you avoid that one.
What if
And
it's a line of like 7 urinals and there's someone, say there's only one little guy at the very end and 2 men are using the urinals. They got the first one and the third one. Let's say it's 5 in this case. Make the scenario.
So you're
better.
saying it's the gap. Like do you take
Would-
the small
would,
one
would
with
you
the gap?
would you plug that gap and have a guy on either side, or would you walk to the very end
Yeah.
and use the little guy?
Little guy.
oh yeah, I guess if you have a choice, you go like you're saying, like if it's the right one socially to choose. In this
Right.
situation, there's no kids visibly
Right.
in line.
I think I would go for the little guy at that point.
Yeah. You take the one that's socially appropriate to use. If there's like a kid, and if you're in line, you're aware of your surroundings. Like you might wave the kid ahead in that situation. Similar to the wheelchair scenario, like you kind of just gotta feel, you gotta know. But if it's a line short of peeing in the sink, which I'm not gonna out any and all of us here, like I'm not above it if the circumstances were correct. Chicago's very fortunate that they had quite a few restrooms available. But if we had a line of like 20 dudes, I'm getting in and out of there quick. I've got no qualms.
I don't think I've ever peed in a sink in public.
I
Yeah.
think that's absolutely vile and repulsive.
I've peed in sinks
Nobody's
before.
brushing their teeth in that sink. Like,
Yeah, people are
Get
washing
over
their
yourself.
hands in this sink.
Yeah, you can't pee in the
You don't
public
pee in.
sink.
That is revolting.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
not in the
Food-
public.
Well,
one.
food service
The bathroom
KJ,
attendant was right there.
For a guy who just said he would never take a little urinal if it's available to peeing in the sink, you those are two wild extremes right there. I'm sorry, but
I've seen a lot, man. I mean, you've probably also seen the guy at, insert club, busy club, college club bar here. And the trash can's been an option at times. Like this is
Probably,
also the same
yeah.
setting where you get like girl who forces her way to the front of the line to take the stall situation because the guy's line is shorter. Like that environment, there are no rules.
Are
And
you-
that's when the sink and or trash cans have come into
are
play.
you in like a dingy bar, like 8 beers deep, or is this like at an airport? Because I mean, those are also very different.
I would not do this at an airport for sure.
Oh my god!
Would not. I wouldn't have
the,
done it in Chicago.
At the Taylor
Probably.
Swift concert, I went to pee, and there was no line for the men's room. It might surprise you. And I think I was the only guy in there. And I went and peed at the big row of empty urinals. And then I just hear like chatter, and I turn around, and there's just like girls filtering in. And I'm just like,
That's not super uncommon.
it was just it was just a weird, unique experience. I could hear them talking and stuff. And I was like, oh,
But if it were reversed and if the men's was stacked up and the women's was empty, you cannot go in there. You get
double standard,
you
Dylan.
catch a charge or something.
Yeah.
I was about to say, like, and this is in Texas, and you didn't report this offense. That anyhow,
The bathroom
we're real
bill.
long on potty talk here.
Hey,
that's our 4-year anniversary show of took us 4 years to get back to potty talk.
Hey, before we get into it, I'm gonna give a shout out to Roback.
Ooh.
I snuck a little lift in. I lift.
I can't tell.
Okay,
I lift. This guy's a jerk. See if I
I
lift the lid for you one time. I lifted and I put on my Roback gear. I wore the shorts. I wore the hat. I had a t-shirt from home on, but I was 2/3 Roback, and I felt great. And I don't just wear it for working out. Dylan's wearing one right now to
I got
podcast.
I got a top and a bottom on right now. I'm robed out.
He is.
I got the loopers on, the shorts, and the tailwind shirt, which I can't say enough positive things about. Softest material of all time. Washed 20. Washed 20. Get you 20% off. Of course, they have all the polos you could ever need. They have joggers, swim trunks with an excellent liner.
One time use code. Load that card up. Do it. Check it out.
Washed 20.
Washed 20. Also, I was going to make a seg out of this, but I just want to give another shout out to the Dallas Stars. Why? Why is this always such a local, regional show? Did you see the news, KJ?
I have not.
The Dallas Stars
Breaking
are
news.
launching a free hockey streaming service, a free game streaming
Oh,
service for their fans. It's called Victory Plus. In-market telecast allows fans in Texas, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Arkansas to watch regional games for free in September. It's a significant shift from the TV broadcasting model. They were previously partnered with Bally Sports, the often maligned, and rightfully so, Bally Sports. And they're saying fuck it. And they're going free streaming for the fans. And it sounds really, really dope. And I hope this is a thing that other teams do. I don't know what the pros and cons are going to be. That's all I've really seen, but sounds great.
I'm interested. I'm looking into this right now. As you mentioned, the states that this covers probably explains as to why I haven't heard of it. But I do believe like Milwaukee, where the Bucks are shown, also will fall victim to like Bally being absolute trash. So hopefully something similar follows. I hope Victory is successful enough to update their graphics. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. They've got some real interesting stock photo graphics on their website where every athlete looks like Victor Skarsgård. And it's just questionable. Like very, very Canadian look.
Okay. Well, look, it's going to be ad supported. It'll probably be a beating with the ads, but it'll be free and you can't complain about that. So that sounds really dope. Because I don't think God, as a YouTube TV guy, I don't watch a ton of Stars games. It's not great. Same with the
Mhm,
Rangers, man.
mhm. Quick
Uh,
correction. Alexander Skarsgård, not Victor. Go ahead.
That's okay. There is a Victor Skarsgård.
I'm sure.
I looked it up because I was like, oh, did he mean to? Let's check in with Twitter. This is something you got to do every now and then. You got to check in on Twitter, see what the tweets are doing. This from last week. I don't know if you guys saw it, but did you happen to check in on Archie Manning at all? Anything catch your eye, Randy? I just want to put this out there. Archie Manning is alive and seemingly well.
Mm-hmm.
Not dead.
When you guys dropped this into our Too Much Dip group chat, I had to read it 3 times. I was like, oh my God, my heart sunk a little bit. Like, no, not Archie.
During the Manning camp, nonetheless.
Yeah. I was thinking about my boy Arch and how he's going to be sad.
How's he going to process this?
Right. And then I was like, wait a minute. He just turned 75.
I like that Dylan was thinking about like potential like quarterback room issues.
Yeah, I mean, he's a legend, man. This is the first family of the SEC.
The outlet, is this a person outlet? It's the Clarion Ledger tweets Archie
Part of the
Manning.
USA,
Archie Manning.
USA Today Network.
Okay. Ole Miss football legend, dad of Eli, Peyton, grandfather of Arch,
There he is
75.
and still 75, and still
Is 75. That's all
on
you
his,
need.
On his way to 76 currently as well.
They're just pointing that out.
So wasn't his like birthday or anything?
It
It
was his
Okay.
birthday.
But like no mention of his birthday. It's just hey, this guy's 75. Oh,
Hold on. So that was my initial take, that it was like, if you read this in FM radio announcer reading off birthdays before going to commercial after Delilah, it just kind of made sense in that tone.
right. With the preface
But
of
then-
we're gonna read off some birthdays now. But
Exactly. But then Landry corrected, or at least informed me, I need to go back and confirm, this was put out on July 2nd. According to internet.com, Archie Manning date of birth, I don't know why I typed that in, is May 19th.
Oh, never mind.
It was
wasn't
not his
birthday.
actual birthday.
I
when
thought
they
it
put
was this whole
out.
time.
Even more confusing.
Does the Clarion Ledger just have a quota on page views?
Just
And they're like, dude, I hate to do this. But we got to we got to hack it. We got to do the thing.
and like, any other celebs they do this for? Just randomly announce someone's age with no other context.
Dylan Shivery, podcaster, father,
of Parks,
bathroom hot taker.
is 40.
He's 40.
Oh, but is he still with us? Yeah, he's right here.
It is really weird in that context. I just assumed like, oh, it's a birthday tweet that they just worded very, very oddly. But no. Shout out to his family.
I think it's wonderful. At the same time, like, had it have been, again, the unfortunate news that none of us were hoping for, and would have felt like, oh my gosh, when will this year end, if we would have lost Archie. at least to Dylan's point, like he found like a reason to be connected to it. I saw this and I'm like, okay. And I was like trying to figure out like, okay, what does this mean? We're not going to get Peyton and Eli every other Monday night in the fall? Like, whatever. But glad he's with us.
Live and well. Everybody can calm down.
Good.
Let's check in on CeeDee Lamb and the Bees. Cole Beasley, former Cowboy, former Bill great. Cole is retired. He is not shying away from Twitter. Great, love it. Not saying I co-sign some of the tweets, but I like that he's out there doing it. I like that there's Cole Beasleys in the world that aren't afraid to challenge the norm. You know what I mean? Well, a video surfaced, and it's actually a video that I wanted to talk about. And it's just a video of CeeDee, working out, doing his off-season training. And I don't know if you guys are aware of this. He's a slender fella, a world-class athlete, but a very, very slender guy. His legs are not thick. He is a probably what people in the scouting, the personnel department would call a high-cut guy.
Well, as most people know, there's not much you can do about the size of your legs. It's just genetic.
It's true. There's really no point in working them out.
Genetically predisposed to have skinny legs, much like myself.
Yep. Y'all are basically the same guy.
I've been saying the same thing for a while, actually.
So a video got posted, and he's doing drills, and he's got he's doing stuff you see people doing, like doing box jumps, lunges, kettlebell stuff. It's okay, cool. CeeDee Lamb holding out, but he's still working out. He's staying in good shape. Well, Cole Beasley quote tweets the video and says, "Man, just do some heavy squats and power cleans." Old school guy. This guy would play well in the Bird 8th grade football locker room.
He'll find a little soft spot in your zone coverage, and he'll just squat there, and he'll get 8 yards for you.
He will. And look, there was a time when Cole Beasley was a very, very useful slot receiver. But do you think CeeDee Lamb? What?
Whoa. Let's slow down. We cannot bypass by just saying that Cole Beasley was a useful slot receiver.
Why?
I'm not going to stop down and say he's like Wes Welker, Julian Edelman, Wayne Corbett, or any other notable slot receivers in
that are white
the pantheon.
Why are you only listing white guys, KJ?
I don't understand here.
I was getting to the
black
rest
guys
of the
play
list.
slot
You
receiver
guys
too.
You cut me off. I don't know how I made it to Wayne Corbett. It couldn't fill the gap at all there. Randall Cobb might be a better comp, for the sake of this argument. Like Edelman, Cobb, I don't think that Beasley is there. But I think it would be a vast understatement to say, like, this is an athlete or a player that didn't wildly overperform and perform at a very high clip for
11 years.
9, 10 years?
11-year career,
years, yeah.
had probably 8 of them great. Great's not the word.
A career
very
that
good.
Started by him quitting the team. Like
I said, he was
mid-training
very
camps,
useful.
I feel like useful is what you might say about like maybe Michael Gallup.
He wasn't a game changer, KJ. He was a serviceable, useful guy.
A great safety net.
Who had a good role, and he played it well, but he wasn't like, oh, shit, we got Beasley. It's Super Bowl time.
He was a great safety net. For
An accomplished veteran might be better than a useful slot receiver.
Is this because he went to SMU?
Did he?
Did he not?
I had no idea. I'm just fucking.
He was
Yeah,
was pretty decent.
I think I felt the same as both of you whenever the story, came to our attention yesterday. And then I convinced myself before he did the show that I'm like, I'm going to do as much research as possible to be able to sell myself on Cole Beasley being a more valuable receiver than CeeDee Lamb.
No way. Boy,
my research is not finished to submit that report.
Well, somebody on Twitter said, is Cole really trying to tell CeeDee how to train? Beasley is literally never eclipsed 1,000 yards. Lamb is averaging 1,286 yards a year and 599 yards short of Cole in 4 years versus 11. Okay.
Stats.
So he's challenging Cole. He's going at Cole, and he's putting his career in the crosshairs. To which Cole, of course, he's going to respond.
CeeDee didn't play with Jason Witten. That's my cosign argument.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Fair. Cole responds, give me 180 yards, 180 targets off the couch, and I eclipse 1,000. Stop looking at stats and check the tape. As far as getting open goes, I'm confident I did it with the best of them. Okay.
What's the most yards he ever recorded in one season?
Just short of 1,000.
Okay.
Yeah, like 960,
Mid nines.
980.
He's had good seasons. CeeDee, of course, has to quote tweet Cole because he was tagged in this tweet. I don't need 180 targets to touch a band.
Damn.
You understand that, ref?
That's good lingo.
That's
right
what I
there.
call 'em, bands.
That's good lingo. I like it.
Pull up tape. I'd match you route for route on getting open. Just chill at Bees.
Don't punch down, CD.
He didn't have to respond.
You're punching down. Like you're a premier wide receiver. You're a top 5 receiver in the league.
Oh yeah. About to get paid.
Beasley is a retired slot guy who was decent. Don't punch down.
He was a good slot receiver.
Yeah.
Not all pro, but he was good.
He caught some passes.
I didn't think we were going to argue about the merits of Cole Beasley in the slot today, but KJ.
But to say
KJ chose violence.
to say like, oh, I'll match you route for route, like obviously.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
No one is gonna doubt that, buddy. You feel me, Dave?
Again, it's impossible to say, but I do think that there is more merit to the discussion if we were just strictly talking about like route running, which is not what the like conversation was. I don't even think Beasley's initial quote like tweet was that like meant to be an insult. So that's why I don't think like it came out as like really that aggressive at the end. You know, I don't think CeeDee and his shot was that tough of a take. I do think there's something to be said. Like CeeDee Lamb is infinitely more valuable to your team than a Cole Beasley at their peak. But like the quality of routes being run, their ability, like their quickness, like they're not the same body size. So I think Beasley can say that he is a high quality route runner. That is a fair statement of his own.
You don't make it.
Well,
He's not the premier
5'6".
receiver. He's not CeeDee. Like it's not even a comparison on like who are you going to start your receiving core with.
When you're
'Cause
5'6"
they're different.
and fair skin, you have to be a good route runner to make it in the league.
I mean, this is
Student of the game.
This is fair. This is
just
fair.
just a real lunch pail guy out there.
Look, man, we had some good times with Cole. Had some good times. Had a couple real good seasons with us. No, but I do like the idea that it's like he's just seeing that video, and it's look, CeeDee looks cool as shit in the video. Like he's doing good stuff. Like, yeah, I just want you to go squat heavy, dude. It is kind of funny to like try to tell this all pro receiver, like you should be doing this. Actually,
Yeah, but I prefer my receivers to have a little quicker twitch than just being like bulky and he's gonna add I don't need him adding 12 pounds of mass in the off season. He's a receiver.
It is like comical to me though, like coming from Beasley. My career, quote unquote, and that's a hard quote unquote.
Oh, here we go.
Beasley and I overlap by about a year and a half, 2 years. So I know the same strength coach that Beasley had, at least in college. I have no idea who he had in the NFL, but I assume there's relative similarities given that they both were, in Dallas, not that far apart. So like it's silly coming from somebody who's like in that same stratosphere. That's why I don't think it was that serious of like a judgment. By the way, like that coach from college is now the strength coach at Baylor Bears. So, whatever he's worth, good luck. Beasley's he's a workout dude. As you can imagine, at that stature, you've got to be a workout guy. And that is like a realm. He can talk that shit in that realm. He cannot hold a candle to pulling up like CeeDee dropping a pass and talking shit. That would not fly. I don't think he was talking shit here. And I hate that I woke up today and said, I'm going to go out and defend Cole Beasley because by all accords, I hate him online. And he and I personally, not like we're best of friends or anything like that. Our personalities did not mesh. I'll say that much.
Did you stuff him in a locker?
He was, I don't know how you want to say it. Like, let's say you had a pledge who you ordered to drive you somewhere, they were your DD for the night. And while you were giving directions to go wherever, they were very dismissive about like taking said directions. They're like, yeah, whatever. We kind of brushed you off verbally. Like, it probably would not be pretty from there forward. And so we had like another altercation that followed that up. And then he became Cole Beasley within the program. So I was like, all right, I'll go fucking stuff myself in the locker. You're right, sir. You're absolutely right. I'll go fuck myself. So
Was he a dog at SMU?
eventually, Emmanuel Sanders preceded him as like the absolute dude on that squad from a receiving standpoint. But at one point, there was Emmanuel Sanders, there was Cole Beasley, and then Aldrick Robinson, who spent some time with the former Commanders team. But was a dude for that team too. So
Interesting.
they had a nice little roster.
Okay. And then finally, is this kid too big to play football? We got to talk.
I didn't see the kid, so you're going to have to point this out. I'm looking forward to this.
Georgia recruit, Jazar Jackson, a 3-star, somehow a 3-star, maybe a 4 on Rivals. 3-star offensive tackle, 6'11", 330.
What?
He switched from basketball. I don't think he's even played football before.
Hey, he's raw. Okay.
Two-time champion in the OTE league. I don't know what the OTE league is, but yeah, he switched from basketball to football. He's 6'11".
IMG Academy. One of those kids.
That's a big fella.
Most known for his AAU stint with the North Coast Blue Chips, where he played basketball with LeBron James' son, Bronny. Probably feels a lot like me talking about having played with Cole. Like in relevance to Bronny. I am baffled. I did not see this. The link you shared earlier went to something different. So I'm seeing this now. My mind is blown.
6'11's crazy. Not just from like can dudes just run under you or like around? Like, I don't know. Like,
Yeah, I
you
mean,
can't be that quick. Your feet can't be that quick.
Your
at
lateral
6'11".
quickness is compromised once you get north of 6'6" at the
Yeah.
tackle position.
But let's say you got Kyler Murray back there. Already putting up some, not the tallest fella. He's a short king himself. 6'11" on your line. That's tough. That seems like it's a problem for a number of quarterbacks, right? Like I couldn't see him, and I could. Why didn't you just check it down? Well, where's our 6'11" tackle? I couldn't see over him. I don't know.
Tallest left tackle in the NFL, like Jonathan Ogden, I think was, is that his name? No.
Mm-hmm.
6'8", I think.
Yeah.
Which is about as big as it gets. And there's, probably a reason for that. Even though Hall of Famer, one of the best to do it. But they don't get much bigger than that. Like, could you put Shaq out there at tackle? Could he, if he grew up playing football, would he be a
Trent
premier?
Brown or Calais Campbell might be who we were going for, but if you put Shaq out there,
Well, that's defense though. That's a little different. Yeah, I mean, if Shaq
Calais
grew up
Campbell's
playing
defense, Trent
football
Brown, I
at
think is
7
fine.
feet tall,
Yeah.
an excellent athlete, obviously, even
Yeah.
for a big man like that, could he do it? Could he play tackle in the league? I don't know.
I just want to know if there's going to be some tight end packages for my guy here. Because you got to think it's 6'11" with the back. We had that run in the NFL, I feel like, in college where like you'd get guys from basketball and try to flip them over to tight end. Cowboys fucking drafted that kid from Baylor, Rico Gathers. Yeah.
Wasn't very good.
Wasn't very good. They kicked him off the team because he was smoking a joint in a park by himself.
Sick.
Weird. Kind of a trash move to kick somebody off the team for that, but whatever. Wasn't good enough.
I love that like both of our mental Wikipedias on Rico Gather says like 1 bullet point, 2 if you include 3 if you include basketball. Basketball, Baylor, smoking dope in a park.
Yeah, like dope. That's something like every other high school kid's doing.
I mean, if he was a
like you have
projected,
to add the park. You can't say like failed drug test. You have to say he was busted in the park.
if he was a projected starter, he wouldn't get kicked off the team for that.
If he's a second rounder,
Yeah.
they're not. But he's
They're
an
like,
undrafted
"Oh."
free agent.
Oh, we're gonna fine you $50,000.
But anyway, yeah, there was that time when we were experimenting with like, fuck, play some basketball. Let's dial up some end zone packages for him. This I do want to see because I feel like at 6'11", assuming he has anything close to decent hands, what can you really do?
I mean, two of the best tight ends of all time were basketball converts. I mean, we got Antonio Gates and Tony Gonzalez.
Yeah, and I'm sure Jason Witten was a real baller in his day.
Probably.
I don't know. Well, I don't know why he had to take
Don't
a
knock-
shot. I'm
You
sorry.
think he's more a pickup softball guy or softball league guy? For some
Yeah.
reason, that's what strikes my brain is Jason Witten. No
He's not-
reason at all.
he's not
I
legging
am
out
looking
doubles.
at tallest. he's definitely not running out of double.
I
or
don't
legging
know.
a double. Jimmy Graham, Kyle Rudolph, Mercedes Lewis, and Gronk. Jimmy Graham at 6'7", former basketball player. Mercedes Lewis played basketball as well, but the other, like he and the others were 6'6". So
Tight end is the position that these basketball guys go to, and it makes sense.
Yeah.
yeah, that in the end, I feel like is where you land. Yeah, if you could do a Calais Campbell thing, like that's the only place that you could reliably say I've got no mobility. Like that's where Shaq would have had to end up. People forget. Shaq had a ton of feet issues.
Was that a
He had bad
Shaq
foots.
impression?
No. That was
Okay.
just I hate whatever my like algorithms are feeding me these days of like people won't remember that. And it's like a real common ass fact. There were 4 members in Destiny's Child, and they make like a whole reel off of it. I'm in a bad place with my algorithms right
Time
now.
out. Is that true about Destiny's Child?
Stop it.
I'm being serious. Was there a fourth? I don't remember that.
Yes, there was a 4th.
What happened? Did it end tragically? I don't fucking know. I'm serious.
Dave needs to get on your algorithm.
Well, damn, dude. I just want to know. I'm sorry.
just-
We don't. It's a slow time in sports. I just want to talk about Destiny's Child. That was
Nothing has ever screamed there's 24 days until like Hall of Fame game and 47 days until college football than what we're covering this episode. Freaks of football history and
And Colt Beasley.
doo-doo talk. We went long on Cole Beasley.
People forget about LaToya Luckett and Latavia Roberson, the original quartet, along with Beyonce and Kelly Rowland.
Kelly, yeah.
I didn't
Michelle was
forget,
the
but
addition.
some people. Okay, cool. Well, yeah. I mean, he's not too big to play football. They're gonna like clearly let him play. I don't think there should be a rule, but that is fucking 6'11" is crazy.
They're going to experiment with them, and he might get processed in a year.
Mhm.
But who knows? Maybe he's got the feet for it.
Maybe he'll end up down in San Marcos. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know. Look, we put together a good class. Shout out to GJ Kinney. KJ, our F1 correspondent, was dialed on the British Grand Prix.
It was a big race day for me this weekend.
Shout out NASCAR.
I was looking forward to the NASCAR event. Like, without joke, we talked about it when we were there a couple of weeks ago or a week ago or whatever, that we'd missed the event where NASCAR would be hitting like downtown Chicago by a week or so. And so having just been there, I was like amped up, ready to watch racing on Sunday. Wasn't really paying much attention to F1 recently, but as it was on in the morning, NASCAR wasn't slated to start till later that afternoon. It became the background fodder. And you know how it goes. You just kind of keep it on. You're like, okay, when's Verstappen gonna, take this dub? Like, what's gonna happen? Like, I've kind of tuned out during his domination since we started this whole charade of coverage. And just because of the way things unfolded, there were a couple late. It was kind of foggy. It wasn't rainy there. I'm getting the two events mixed up because NASCAR got pissed on. I should kind of wrap
Definitely
that up.
a
and say
delay in Chicago.
Yeah, it was a shit show. But at F1, Lewis Hamilton hasn't won in 50 plus races. Obviously, he's from Great Britain, got the dub yesterday, and so as I missed like the finale of the race, and I see like, oh shit, he's like in tears. Let me go back and figure out what happened. It was pretty cool to see like he won for so long and dominated for so long. His public persona is very like not meticulous, but like it can seem a little Tom Brady-ish, where it seems kind of forced and seems kind of predetermined a lot of times. It doesn't seem very authentic in some conversations. But it was a very emotional day, and like appropriately so. Um, so yeah, it just was a cool thing to see. So
And
check out the highlights.
and his last race there as a member of Mercedes, as this is his last season with Team Mercedes.
Thank you for adding that.
And he is going to Ferrari,
Ferrari.
which is
Really?
dope.
They are busting at the seam with drama. Like that is just dumb that Carlos Sainz and gosh, it's blowing my mind. Blowing my cover of how little of F1 I've been watching. That they just can't keep it together.
You know, man, I'd love to bail you out on this one, but I can't.
It's okay.
Dylan
should know
used to
it
be a
simply
F1
because
guy.
The other,
Dylan
the
and
other
Will were like
name is
ground
the one
floor.
to know.
It's okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of out on F1.
The lack of parity has kind of fucked it.
It's completely ruined.
This
it,
year,
though.
I was just, I know it's I haven't made that big of an attempt, but it does kind of suck when
It's
you.
who's going to be on the podium next to what's his face, and it's just got a little
Leclerc.
boring for me.
Okay, good pull,
Leclerc
KJ.
was the name I was not pulling. Okay. So yeah, that was Lewis Hamilton. Quick hit. It needs to be talked about because it's just mind blowing if it goes through. I've got questions if it does or not, and that's why I wanted to pose this story to Dave. But NFL Sunday Ticket lawsuit. You heard about this?
Mhm. Oh yeah.
NFL is liable for $4.7 billion judgment. My first question was like, wait a minute, who are the plaintiffs? And did I miss a sign up page somewhere? But in fact, like former customers of Sunday Ticket could be a part of the class action suit. And I think the bigger chunk are all the public establishments who had to pay like the bigger price. Like you had to just deal with DirecTV and have a fucking satellite on your house and go that route if you wanted this for so many years up until last year. But bars and restaurants, they had to pay like thousands of dollars to be able to show Sunday Ticket in their restaurant.
Yeah.
It was a whole ordeal.
Yeah, this is kind of I don't know if there's been a media blackout, sports media blackout on this story because of just the power that the NFL wields in those circles. But like we mentioned it a few weeks ago that Goodell got deposed, Jerry Jones got deposed, a lot of big dicks in the NFL circle got deposed, and they lost. And not only you said
Yes.
what did you say? 4 billion, 4.6 billion. This is a federal statute that has treble damages, meaning 3 times that would be the penalty. So it's a big deal. So 3 times 4.6, you do the math, have fun.
I was just worried about the base damages, I guess, but that's insane.
Okay, that's good.
Was it
good.
mid?
No, it's good. This show is not taped before a live studio audience, unlike Circling Back. But there's people at home right now. They're saying what KJ just did right there is one of the best jokes to be done today. But
The
yeah,
EQ joke series.
it's a big deal. It's a big loss for the NFL, and I feel like if you are part of the plaintiff class if you owned or paid for DirecTV or Sunday Ticket at any point. So yeah, keep an eye on it.
Correct. There is a website, like if you Google the story, that website comes up. Great for them. The SEO is out there. And as somebody who, dovetail into maybe next week's episode, who previously participated in a class action suit against EA Sports and college football, it's like the websites are always strikingly basic. They look like they're 20-year-old websites and very sketchy. It's just like HTML base shit. Like there's nothing that seems like the right place to put in your name, mailing address, and some other identifying information.
There's not a lot of JavaScript.
And then you don't get any communication. Nothing. There's no guess what happened to what Danica Patrick looks like now, like ads at the bottom. It's just a web page.
This celeb actually has 3 boobs.
Actually, send me that. But then you put your info in, you hear nothing, and then you get a check in the mail. So, like,
It's pretty dope.
if you are one of those people and this goes through, by all means, NFL's already said they're going to appeal Ninth Circuit, whatever the hell that means, and then potentially the Supreme Court. And I would love nothing more than to be able to talk about Jerry Goes to Washington.
How about they release that transcript of that deposition? Because
In the story, in the AP story, they do specifically call out that the judge declared some of the collected evidence, or including some of the interviews having done for this, like would not be
released, it's sealed.
released somewhere along that lines. Let's see. Jury also asked for the reports that 4 economists. Okay, never mind. So unrelated.
I'm looking at the
Jury wanted
website
some
now, and you're
economists
right. It
to
is. This is basic, and I kind of love it. This is what we need. We need websites to be more basic. Websites are doing too much these days. I've always said that. Okay, we'll keep an eye on that. And I think now is the time of the show where we party. Unless you had something to add on that, Dylan.
No,
You kind of set that one out there.
No, I was reading the article. Like, holy shit, there's some big figures. No,
Big.
I have nothing more to add.
These are big.
It's a franchise.
Big numbers.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. man.
Legitimately, that's like every franchise outside of the Giants, the Rams, the Cowboys, and maybe the Commanders or Patriots. Like
441 million per team. It breaks down to. Sheesh.
Mm.
woo,
What's the damage?
it's a salary cap.
Some of these broke boy franchises is that. I don't know, man.
What's the most broke boy franchise?
Cleveland?
Jags.
They've got
Jags,
a lot of
Cleveland,
history. It might be
Chargers.
the Jags, but the Jags just got a new stadium approved. Rendering's
course.
pretty dope. But it, I don't know. The Panthers
Cincinnati?
just got bought. Otherwise, it would have been the Panthers.
Okay.
Salary cap's $255.4 million, just for comparison's sake. So this is way more than a salary cap.
We're gonna get NFL's gonna try to cancel us for even talking about this. We're not afraid to fucking go there.
Certainly
We're doing
not.
it. In fact, not only are we gonna go there, but right thereafter, we're gonna party. It's the part of the show where we talk about some sports. And we fucking party. We just fucking go, dude.
Let's party then, baby.
Ryder Cup. Guess right now who your captain is. Allegedly. Team USA going into.
Ooh, Tiger Woods.
Turned it down. Allegedly turned it down.
Saw that.
Run it back? JT?
Absolutely not. Fucking Zeej is nowhere near this shit anymore.
ZJ's probably
Or Zeech, I'm
one
sorry,
and
not
done.
JT.
We're probably good. We're probably good on the Zach Johnson captaincy.
He just picked his boys for the team.
He did. One name that he did not pick, famously, if you watched Full Swing season 2, Keegan Bradley. Kind of a gut punch watching it happen because
Yeah.
you're just like, he seems like a decent guy. I've never been a big fan,
I've
but
had a great season. I feel like I'm deserving.
he did. There's his family, beautiful family, his
Camera in his
wife,
face. Netflix
again,
camera right in his face.
and
the
his
whole time.
wife.
Yes, he has a family.
And no, he is going to be the captain of Team USA, apparently.
Why not?
Look, weird move. Like, by definition, no one saw this coming. It is a little bit of a zig. Give me a guy who doesn't really have like a crew, isn't going to be beholden to the clicks, not going to pick his boys, I don't think. Give me that guy. Give me the guy who seems like he's kind of a dick.
And also maybe won't like lose his temper when he gets called out by fans,
That too.
by the gallery, chirping his
Okay.
ass.
I'm glad you added that criteria because of course I was gonna say, well, if we don't want anybody picking like, grandfather, brother-in-law picks, like we could have just gone Patrick Reed, but once you added in the thick skin criteria right off the board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Why not? Tell me why not. How about that?
And this is a dude who once went toe-to-toe with Miguel Angel Jimenez in an on-course altercation one time. Almost came to blows. And to be fair, Keegan would have whipped his ass
He's
up
a
and
big
down.
fella.
Keegan's a big dude.
And he wears J's.
He does wear J's. He's boys with
Which
MJ.
Gives him credibility in a fist fight.
It's true. I don't know why, but for some reason, that's accurate.
I mean, a guy in J's or a guy in FootJoy. Like, who you taking? Let's be honest.
That's a great point. Great point. Yeah, so I'm fine with this, and whatever. It's home. It's a USA event, so we were probably favored to win it anyway. But let's get Keegan in there and just make it wild. I don't fucking care. Sorry, Phil.
I know we're supposed to be. Yeah, thank you. I was going to ask about that. We're supposed to be quick here, but I hated the news cycle on this because like the news about Tiger like turning it down came out this morning, and then like the Keegan news was out 2 hours later. Between the times that we were like finishing up the rundown, so I couldn't even get jokes in. I was preparing for like my Phil support fest today, and it's already settled. So what are we doing? It's a year and a half out. Killing me. Wednesday,
Mm-hmm.
Netflix comes back with this season's answer to how are they going to do NFL's quarterbacks documentary that we covered last year with Kirk Cousins and Mariota and
Mahomes?
don't remember. Oh yeah, Mahomes, of course. Shit.
Yeah, how could you
they're
forget
doing
me, man?
receivers.
I'm everywhere, dude. I was at Wimbledon.
He was at Wimbledon. They are doing receivers as the season this year, and the frantic typing you may hear in the background is just me trying to figure out who besides
Cole Beasley.
Justin Jefferson.
Nah.
It will include Justin Jefferson of the Vikings, Devontae Adams, George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, and Amon-Ra St. Brown.
This has been off my radar completely. I didn't know this was happening. I'm excited. I will be watching.
Kinda
A couple
dope.
things that jump out there. Obviously, you've got Deebo and Kittle on the same team, and you know Kittle not being a receiver per se, but Amon-Ra St. Brown has got a brother who's also in the league, Equanimous St. Brown. Their dad passed away during the season last year, so I have a feeling that will get a big chunk of it because John Brown, their dad, was like Mr. Universe or something. at one point in
Bodybuilder.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll be worth watching. I believe I'll be checking it out. I'll petition for this show to cover some of it next week, and unless we get some other sports.
I trust Netflix to do this right. I will. I will give it a look.
I enjoyed the quarterbacks one. Quite a
Sure.
bit. It was good.
Damn, All-Star Week. Next week in Arlington. KJ, your hometown. You think they can put on? They gonna put on? Agtown, huh?
If it's anything like the last time that Arlington, Texas was on the National Baseball platform stage during the Rangers World Series Champion Parade, if it's anything like that, I can say this will be nothing but an unmitigated success, as that was everything that wonderful town is. There's just not much to look at. So hopefully the weather is all right. I need to look that up, see what they're dealing with. But Arlington's a sad place to like have your baseball team exist, especially after coming from Chicago, where it's like, oh, there's the stadium.
Yeah.
Like us as visitors were there. We didn't even give that like much attention. We got out of the Uber, we looked at it and we're like, dope. And then went to the bar to go to Sluggers. And it's mind blowing that you could just have a wonderful night like that and not even feel like you've got any attachment to the stadium. In Arlington, you're basically kind of like at the top of a water slide heading to a sports stadium at all times. Otherwise, you're just not doing anything fun.
I famously attended the home run derby at the ballpark in Arlington in 1995.
Mike Piazza?
I believe the Big Hurt one.
Okay. Frank Thomas.
Oh, yeah.
All that testosterone, dude.
It was a better time.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, and you know what? It'll be hot. It'll be domed up. Yeah, all right.
Oh, yeah,
Maybe-
good reminder.
Maybe they'll
I was honestly like, I'm wondering what the weather will be like and how this will go. Completely wiped that out of my brain.
And
obviously, it'll be domed up.
For what seems like the 12th season in a row, they have changed the home run derby rules again.
Boy, I can't remember
They
the last
just-
time I sat down and watched a
they
home run
just-
derby start to finish. Actually, probably like honestly, Josh Hamilton years or
They just
something. I
can't
don't.
settle on a format for this.
Yeah,
I watched Rooker last year, and that was it.
this guy watched the Rooker. Shout out to Rooker.
Who's putting up some numbers. He's
Yeah,
hitting the ball out of the ballpark.
watch him at the trade deadline.
Okay.
That's all I'm gonna say. I've got no idea. I just always see him like he always posts his home runs. So I'm like, fuck yeah, he's hitting home runs. He must be having a great year. I think he is having a good year. But I was like, dude, trade his ass. Get his ass to Arlington. I don't know if we need that. I don't know if we need the bat, but whatever. We don't. We need actually we do need a bat. I'm not here to talk about the Rangers, and they might be sellers at the deadline anyway. So cool stuff, man. Glad I went down that road. Hey, what's going on in
We'll
Austin?
talk more
bro?
about it next week.
We'll talk more about it next week. We can
Yeah.
have Rooker on live from wherever he's at.
Yeah, I want to talk a little Texas football recruiting real quick. It's been a tough stretch for the Longhorns. Number one receiver in the country of Dave's Duncanville Panthers, DeCorian Moore, rumored to be a Texas lean, chose Oregon on July 4th. Fast forward 2 days, and dude out of McKinney, I think, also in Texas, for those that don't know, another top 30 or 40 national recruit, Riley Pettijohn, chose Ohio State, another kid who was rumored to be a Texas lean. Not hours after, it was the same day, Sarkisian tweets out an image. Steve Sarkisian, that is, Texas head coach. It's a Texas quote. I don't know who to attribute this quote to, but here's the quote. The pride and the winning tradition of the University of Texas will not be entrusted to the weak or the timid. And this seems like he's subtweeting these kids who did not choose Texas.
Does he tweet a lot?
Doesn't tweet a ton, but he does a lot of just generic, motivational stuff usually. But he tweeted this, and everyone's like, "Oh, okay, you're gonna." It does seem like he's subtweeting these kids who.
Well, it does. And it's interesting because not you necessarily, but a lot of Texas fans that I talked to that were really upset about that definitely thought that Texas was still going to be in play for at least a Corian.
Yeah. Long way to go until national signing day. The first signing period is early December.
So I would think if he is not dumb enough to send something that would piss off these kids.
I don't know.
But
it's not a great look. I'll say that.
He kept it up.
It's still up. It would be worse if
you can't take it down.
It would look worse
You're right.
if he took it down, because then it would be like, oh, I'm guilty. And maybe
I
he can
agree with
smooth it over.
Dylan that.
Huh?
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. I agree that it's difficult to tell because they throw a picture of Earl Campbell up with it, but then they don't the graphic doesn't include Earl Campbell by name.
Right.
So it's
I don't think that's Earl Campbell's quote. I think he's just he's like the model for
knowing
this is not a
anything about
weak nor
Earl
a timid
Campbell.
guy.
That's not his words.
Yeah.
He makes hot links.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's from
come
East
on.
Texas. He's not spitting out motivational quotes.
So I don't know. Hopefully he can get the door is not completely shut on DeCorian. And that one stung quite a bit as a Texas fan.
Yeah, definitely not talking about Dylan here because honestly, he did not have this take. But some other Texas fans I am friends with, they were and the reaction on Twitter, they was almost appalled and shocked that Oregon's dropping the bag, Nike money. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of how this works. Texas drops the bag too.
Yes.
You just got outbagged by Nike.
Yeah.
So it's dude, you can't be tweeting
Oregon is
money bags at these kids if yeah, that's the game, dude.
Oregon is on fire right now. They're rumored to be leading for another 5-star kid out of Texas. Actually, so according to Rivals, which is kind of the one I pay most attention to, the top 10 kids in Texas right now, 6 of them are committed, all of them out of state. So kids are leaving Texas at a rapid clip right now, which hadn't really happened to this degree in recent memory. So, yeah, Oregon's
Ken Paxton's fucking shit up, man.
Oregon's dropping cash, and credit to them. They're gonna have a loaded roster.
Don't these kids know that we don't have state income tax? Come on, bro.
They're NIO. They got to pay taxes on that shit. That is something to keep in mind.
Just kidding.
I am excited for whenever we get to that next phase of NIL, when it becomes that mature, when we do start getting those type of reports that we do have a kid who's representative or representation, brings up state income taxes, in the mix. And it's all just kind of a subtle push because some of the money came from somebody who's a big, political donor. And they're like, okay, can you also please, when you make the commitment, just say this had played a role? Just say the words, single issue voter. Just say that.
Well, sorry. Yeah, no, that happened with Clay Thompson. That's one of the first, because that's been the joke in NBA free agency. if you're a Mavs fan and you never get the big free agent, but you're always like, oh, but we don't have state income tax. Why do they don't want to come here? And then the notes coming after Clay chose Dallas in that sign and trade was like, he liked the no state income tax thing. And you're like, what, really? Like, that's been like a bit for 20 years. And like someone actually referenced it. And
have we talked about the new revenue sharing model that's gonna hit college football soon?
not specifically.
So universities will soon be able to directly pay student athletes, and it'll come from revenue share.
Mm-hmm.
But there's like basically like a salary cap. They can only spend X amount of dollars. I mean, it's a pretty big number. It's like
22% of their annual average annual athletic department revenue.
Yeah. So before too long, student athletes will be able to collect directly from the university while also collecting NIL. So
Okay.
they're just gonna, it's kind of a crazy time in college athletics.
Mm.
I appreciate that that's going to happen. We'll dive probably. I keep saying this. We'll dive more into this as the season gets closer, but I still am interested to see the day when universities start saying, like, the same donor who was giving them $10 million and now they're giving them $6 million and $3.5 million to an NIL collective. Like, universities aren't going to be like, okay, it's cool. They're going to be like, no, give us that 10 million. We'll cut the check for the rest. Like, those conversations definitely aren't going to be had like lightly. You know that somebody on the university like fundraising side is looking at these NIL deals like, okay, we're going to these people saying, why don't you just go straight to us? It's above board. We'll put your name on this building. Like, I guarantee that's, if you're out doing biz dev in that world, like, that's a target. So there's always going to be that back and forth. So if in fact they built this system, I think that's only going to get bigger and bigger.
Well said. We'll have to get more into that because I knew about it, but we definitely did not jump into that in depth.
I haven't really gone through the weeds on it yet, so I need to read up on it. But it's it's headed this way.
Hey, how about we run it back?
Of course, that's the segment during which we talk about what we already talked about. KJ can't retweet Rhea time. Will and Sally DeFreeze share a toothbrush.
Shared. It was in the past, I think.
They might still share. We don't know.
That's cute.
We've settled urinal etiquette. Dave lifts, he points out. Dylan and CeeDee Lamb are built literally the exact same way.
That's true, dude. Y'all are twitched up.
And finally, Keegs wears J's, therefore can handle himself in a fist fight. And that concludes Run It Back.
That's true. KJ, any parting thoughts?
No, looking forward to next week. We are on the precipice of British Open. We'll have MLB All-Star Game talk, and then college football comes out next week. So, set the over and under for how long I'm a married man.
Oh,
We'll go through all that next week.
Sounds great.
Bye-bye.
I want my chips with the dip. That's all I know. I don't want my chips plain. I want my chips with the dip. So bring them dips.